Right, we are here at Berragoon Pastoral. I'm catching up with Jimmy Grills. Firstly, Jimmy, thank you very much for joining me. And I am going to say, this is actually our third attempt, but there is a little bit of a reason for it, and I'll explain that in a second. But, mate, what an amazing competition you have here for horse people.
Yeah, it's growing and getting better every year, and a good start to the weekend with the sale going off there with the lead and yearling lots. Yeah.
So, anyone wondering, this is a polocrosse event for competitive for people. You're an Australian captain. You don't compete here because you sell a bit. We've got other people who have played on the Australian team that are competing here. We've got a gentleman from Zambia, Damien from Zambia, who I met. Camp drafters. You've got people like Will Durkin here who's judging on the outside. You've got some of the best camp draft riders in Australia here, Matty Holtz, the people who've done so much. This is a fair dinkum competition, plus got a sale there going as well.
Yeah. Well, we started probably 3 or 4 years ago with just the polocrosse, and then we've slowly introduced the camp drafting into it, and we use a lot of camp drafting bloodlines, and then so now we've started to mix it all together, and yeah, it's starting to really go off, and the camp drafters, the big names, are starting to show up, so it's really fun for us.
The sale is probably the most important part from Berragoon's point of view, and I want to touch on the other two disciplines in a second. But today, lead classes, so no ridden horses have gone through the ring behind us, but basically lead, and that's everything from surrogate foals for sale, albeit with mares. But you'll explain how that works in a second. But the sale itself, how's it all gone today?
Yeah, gone very well. So we've sold 30 lots for ourselves. I think our gross was about 228, and an average of 7.6 for the 30 foals at foot and 6 yearlings. Yeah,
7.6 thousand. That's it.
Yeah. Average across them. Yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, very. Really happy with that, especially with probably 20 colt foals in that. So the fillies obviously jumped it up a fair bit, but we're happy with that average.
As a centrebred person or even a racing person, it's one of the more fascinating things. Everyone else wants colts. Performance horses and that all want fillies. So it's what people are after.
Yeah, that's right. I think obviously colts. If you're going to have a good colt, it's got to be on the truck. You can't take too many. We aren't actually allowed to play on colts in polocrosse, so a lot are after mares and geldings. So yeah, the mares they pay a bit more money for.
That part in itself is interesting to go from there, and it's an incentive. So sorry, I want to say on the mares actually for a sec. They're surrogates now. You take surrogate horses, and there's always this clouded mark, if you like, about what happens with these horses. And people might watch it and they say, 7,600 for an average of a horse going through a sale. But the mares come back to you. What happens is people take the foals here today, or whenever they can take them. They take those home, raise them. When they're ready to wean the foal, you want the mares back. It's not like, get them back to us at some stage. You actually want them back to get back into your program.
Yeah, definitely. So they'll take them from today and go all over. They'll foal them down, and at weaning stage they'll all return to Berragoon. So yes, generally our foster mares they'll spend 1 year at home and 1 year abroad, and then they'll come back. So yeah, just back and forth. Yeah. And
it is a business, and it's a business a lot of people can't get their head around. I think sometimes too. But I was talking to your dad, and he's blown away by the way that the business has probably grown.
Yeah, and it has taken off in the last few years, and I think that is a big thing to do with the incentive and being able to come back and show your horse off and have a chance at obviously winning your money back. But I think the biggest thing is people proud of what they've brought through the sale and proud to come back and then sell through. Like, I think the big thing now is a lot of players are playing their horses, drafting them, then selling them, and then finding the value in that in the ring's been huge.
7 years is what has been going?
Well, 10 years for the sale. This is our incentive number 5. So we got washed out 1 year, but yeah, this is our 5th incentive with polocrosse and drafting.
And the way incentives works is basically there is a polocrosse competition with prize money, and there is also a camp draft with prize money on offer, albeit there's also an open draft on in a minute. You've got to go and commentate on that, so I don't want to talk too far. But it basically means that horses that go through this ring, and I imagine long term you'd want that solely in the camp draft and that solely on the polocrosse, but that's how people come back to be a part of this great weekend with great prize money.
Yeah, definitely. So pretty much all the teams about July, all the open teams that haven't had the horses, now they're all starting to buy their own and have them in, but they get on the phones, they ring them up, so just so they can be a part of the competition, and that's how we get all the all the guns from all over the world. I'd say there's only probably two players out of the top 15 in Australia not here, and then also a fair few internationals coming over to play in this as well.
One more question I'm going to ask you in a second, because you are the Australian captain, but I'll ask you that other part of it. The camp draft, you had the incentives. I think Matt Davis won it, who is good because he helps you. He's been here since the start too, so great. He's won it twice, I believe, before that. But you have your incentive draft. But the camp draft itself, it is just growing, isn't it?
Definitely. Talking to Scott, he's judged our incentive camp draft from the start, and he says the amount of improvement from start to now is just, he's blown away. It's doubled in size, but doubled in the horse's talents, and polocrosse people and new people into the sport actually learning how to cut a cow out properly, read cows, and it's just all improving. So, yeah, he was very impressed with it.
And your two judges, Scotty Bandy and Will Durkin. Will's well-renowned camp drafter. He tells me he's not professional at it, but anyway. But Queenslander, he's a legend in his own right. He's won just about everything. So to have him here, and then Scotty Bandy, 5 times man from Snowy River, horseman, just a little notch on his belt. He's got so many other things there. He's also goes okay at the polocrosse and things like that. So to have judges like these guys that also help people. Damien from Zambia, he let him have a run even though he cracked him off in the yard. I think it might have been because he didn't hear the crack, but have guys like this being over there and judge, it gives the draft more, I suppose, authenticity, if you like, more credence.
Yeah, definitely. Having blokes, obviously they're both stars of their sports, and the amount they just want to help people and grow the industry and grow the sports. And we just love having those bigger names come and be involved, and like obviously Scott, they put themselves out there. They're all playing polocrosse this weekend, and Trav and Will, we had the Battle of the Black Hats. Like, it takes a fair bit of courage to step out in front of, I think there was about 500 to 1,000 people there last night, and you're just going head to head with one other bloke. It takes a bit of courage to get up there and do that. Most people say, nah, I'm all right.
Well, actually, I said Battle of the Black Hats. He goes, what a stupid name. He wasn't happy with it. Did you come up with the name? Well,
I wasn't on that one. I wanted to be the UFC of camp drafting because it was going to be a fighting bout. But he'll have to take that one up with Lucy.
Well, it won't hurt him at all. That concept, though, all I've heard from people, and this is one of the parts I wanted to bring to people, the reviews from people, they were stoked, wrapped, doing something different. 2 guys riding the same 6 horses, going head to head, 40 points different, if you like, in the draft. Probably come from a little bit of walk of life, although they both worked together at once, or Trav worked for Will, but they're good mates. They know each other and all the rest, but they also bought into it, I believe. They actually, did their bit to make sure people got excited about it.
Yeah, definitely. They were great from the whole lead up. I sent Will a message and asked him, would you be interested? And his response was, yeah, I love this sort of stuff. I'm keen to go. And obviously Trav, he's ready for anything, so he was straight up there in there as well. But from the whole start, they come over, draw their names out of the hat, put on a show. Obviously got over there, first 2 scores, 92.5 and a 90. So welcome to the centre stage, boys.
Scotty, the coach, the judge?
No, Michael Hiscock judge. So he came up and did our challenge, and he did the Black Hats as well. So that was pretty cool to have Hiscock draft.
I was going to say it'd be a bit hard on Scotty judging his son in the head-to-head. I believe, talking to your dad, you might have a couple other different ideas. We're not going to put them out yet. We don't want people to coach them, but you've got other things in plan, Nelly, for next year?
Yeah, we've had a crack at a few different things, but yeah, we'll have it. We'll obviously try and always bring something new, but we might even fine-tune the Black Hats or the Battle of, or whatever we're going to call it. We might have to find a new name if Durkin's our marquee man now, because that was the thing. He'll call out his next opponent now because he's the champ.
Oh, well, that could be a lot of fun then. So anyone could have to look out there. Right, polocrosse is your main love. You are the Australian captain. You're the Australian #1. How big is polocrosse here in Australia for a start?
Yeah, our membership's between 3,000 and 4,000 players. It's massive here. This men's comp and the open comp, 16 players. This is our off season, so everyone's got horses in the middle of the off season, and to have, I think there's about 150 horses here and about 90 players in the middle of their off season. So got the horses ready over Christmas. Yeah, it's the sport. These sort of competitions is creating the sport a very good vibe, and I think our sport needs it to bring people like yourself and the camp drafters in to have a look at it and, grow in stature.
We'll talk about Scotty Bandy and Trav and that. they actually compete in it. Emma O'Shea, I'll get into trouble, but Emma Webb, she was competing in it as well. There is a good crossover and that, and I also saw that in the draft where they were waiting for, in the open draft, they were still waiting for people because it is hard, but I mean, I think that's one of the great parts about it. But imagine some young kids this big watching people camp drafting, if that's their first love, going across, they say, oh, I might give this a go, and vice versa, and being able to build these performance horse sports.
Yeah, definitely, and connecting the two sports, I think we only get better from crossing over. So we know how good operators and horse riders all the camp drafters are, and that helps us out. And then the camp drafters come over and have a good time, and the way the camp drafters can help us out because they come in on lower grading. So we've got some serious operators. So there's points caps always all through the year in polocrosse. So each player's graded out of 10, and then we can bring a Morgan Webb in at a 6.5 and he can play like an 8. So it's good. It's great for us.
Right, Jimmy, we've moved camp. Had a little audio issue, so we have moved camp. We were just talking there before about Morgan Webb and the diversity, if you like, of so many of these people. And since then, we've just come here and watched the open draft being run and won by one Morgan Webb. Like, I mean, that's what this weekend is so cool about it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, we just come over in here, watched him win that weekend, and then for us to be able to take him and play with us in high other polocrosse competitions as a 6-pointer, it's a pretty good asset to have. And then all the big players in all the different sports, there's all different cues and stuff that we'll learn off each other. So it's great to have them all crossing over.
And you got so many great horsemen out here, and it was on show. You know, Scotty Bandy got one around, no one else would have got it around. Fiona Holtz did an awesome job. There was some terrific runs out there today by quality horse people.
Yeah, definitely. Fiona's run, there was about 3 or 4 girls runs, Emma, and then some tough cattle, and geez, the open riders put on a show, and Johnny Mitchell in the stallion draft on Horse Chicken Man was a pretty nice 90 as well.
I've got some photos, hopefully I'll put them over the top of this. This video won't go out until Sunday. This is Saturday we're doing this. Awesome seeing people. I was inside the arena and I took a photo back with people sticking their heads through watching it. It's just a great spectator sport, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unreal, and the atmosphere when these guys turn it on for us, it just has quite a buzz. And yeah, heading into 2 big finals now, I think everyone's just starting to get on the runway to really get going.
Right, polocrosse, we have tried to touch on it. The quality of horses that you have, or quality of competition you have here at these polocrosse events?
Yeah, there's some serious horses out there. Abbott Grills will be on a mare this afternoon that he bought for about $60,000, and it'll be running hot at the number 1 position for Billa Cooler. And then our highest price mare, the $102,000 mare Berragoon Bells, she'll be on show this afternoon as well.
102,000. When was that?
2021 sale, brought by Grant Carroll. He's taken her home. This is the first year she's come back, and she's in line for a few awards this afternoon as long as they get the job done.
Yeah, well, they've got to get the job done first. A few of the guys are competing. The bandies are competing as well, so they're going to be competing in about 40 minutes. So there is that side to it as well. How big, and I've tried to ask you this question 4 times, and he's grinning because he knows, but how big is polocrosse in Australia?
Yeah, huge in Australia. Like this competition here would have 15, like all the top 15 players are here apart from probably 2, and then it's just growing and growing. There's 3,000, 4,000 members. And it's just growing with these events where we cross over and get a bit more atmosphere about it.
Not sure if it was earlier on in the interview, or I'm going to ask it to you now anyway, it doesn't matter. You said to me it was out of competition time for you. When is competition time? And would that be something that you guys would like to be able to reposition, or are you happy with this time slot?
Yeah, well, this time slot suits us because obviously we want to get the foals off the place and obviously not be feeding foals through to April. But our start of our season for New South Wales polocrosse is April, and then it goes through the winter. So it's a big effort for all these players to get horses polocrosse fit. It's 8 weeks work of fitness work, and then building into this weekend you've got to have about 2 carnivals playing before you get here, and then the stakes are high. You can see the boys going at it this afternoon.
I suppose reverse odds, extend the competition season out. Would that be something that you'd like to see as an Australian captain, someone that's very passionate about the sport?
Definitely, and I think it's been a good thing for the sport in that way as well, because now there's sort of a pre-season of polocrosse. Everyone's building for this, and you've got to hit the ground running. It's a chance to bring on a lot of young horses, so not everyone's on their best horse that they play every weekend because they're on incentive horses, and it gives a good chance for players to go and broaden their riding abilities with heaps of different horses, because when we do go to African countries, we're not on our own horses, so you've got to be able to ride multiple horses to play well.
And the Kiwis come as well. We've got other blokes. Of all the blokes give us a hard time, he should be actually getting over there. His old man's just gone past Gallop and getting horses ready, and he's giving us a hard time. You are the Australian captain of the polocrosse team. That must be a great honour.
Yeah, it's probably one of the coolest things I've ever done. Obviously, love winning World Cups, but an honour to captain your country, it doesn't get much better than that.
Unfortunately, ran second this year, but that's okay. You'll come back in a couple of years. Have you won it?
Yeah, we won in 2019 on that.
As captain?
No, Abbott, when we colored him, was captain, so he handed that over, and yeah, we got done by a goal. So.
that's the way it does roll, but that's fine. Mate, I really appreciate it. I am going to come back. We're going to come back well after April. We'll try and organise a time when your farm's not as busy, I'm not as busy at yearling sales starting from now on. Get a little bit more insight into what you guys actually do, because we want to break down quite a few myths. But this is amazing. There's a sale, there's a proper run camp draft with proper cowboys having a go. You're going to your polocrosse about to start. I'd love to stay and watch it, but I've got another job I'm meant to have gone for, but that's okay. Thank you very much for having me here. Thanks for doing this about 10 times. I really do appreciate it. But well done to everyone, the family and everyone behind the scenes as well, because you have got something that's getting bigger and bigger. You know, Will Dirk and I spent a bit of time there with Will, and he said this is a serious draft, and that's what I imagine what you guys are after. Yeah,
definitely. We want to perform high and have a really high performance draft, camp draft, challenge, polocrosse, all the whole deal, and jump on the live stream and have to check it out.
Yeah, one thing actually quickly, you said before about football. And the one thing I've been told since, your old man says you went okay at the football, but the beauty of it is your football is Aussie rules.
Yeah, not too bad. Play for the Albury Tigers, I wouldn't say.
The camera's got to cut behind me.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to get run over by the commentary truck, but yeah, not too bad. But yeah, footy's helped with a lot of this, a lot of connections through the footy's helped out, and yeah, one of my old coaches now is locked into the sport. He's just brought his 3 girls, never had a horse in his life. He's
Bad move.
Yeah, exactly. He's telling me the same thing. So he's got 3 girls. He's going to buy a horse at the sale tomorrow, and yeah, he played 90 games for Richmond, Chris Hyde. So yeah, bringing a few new people into the sport that way as well. Jimmy,
thank you. I don't know how this interview is going to end up. We'll probably miss some things. You play number 1. I was asked to ask where you play number 1, which is an attacker. What's her name, Matt, before, he's a number 3, so he's in defence. So only 3 people on the field. I know a lot of those things, but we will spend a bit more time, mate. Really do appreciate you giving me the time. Didn't hear what he said, and I'm glad. I reckon we're better off not hearing what he said. You've got to get up there and do the commentary in a minute as well, mate. So, but well done. It's an awesome show. I'll be back next year. I'll make sure I come back next year, but I'll call in and see the farm beforehand. So well done.
Sounds good. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, man.
Talk to you.